Hey everyone, it's Tony Nobley Jr. here with Three Nails Studios. We're on episode 5 of the book of James, The Path to Spiritual Maturity. Really exciting. We hope you guys have been enjoying it so far. If this is your first time, feel free to check out the other 4 episodes so you can get caught up. But just in case, here's a quick recap. James is teaching us how to be spiritually mature or a complete Christian. Part of that means putting on this mentality of maturity and putting it out into real life. That involves making sure that our life actually is lived out according to our faith and our beliefs on an everyday scale. Because without that, we don't really have faith. It isn't alive. The same way that if you were to take oxygen out, you wouldn't be able to breathe. Now, we're going to dive into chapter 3, about halfway through our series. So let's go ahead and check out what James says. Now, not many of you should become teachers, my fellow believers, because you know that we who teach will be judged more strictly. We all stumble in many ways. Anyone who is never at fault in what they say is perfect, able to keep their whole body in check. When we put bits into the mouths of horses to make them obey us, we can turn the whole animal. Or take ships as an example. Although they are so large and driven by strong winds, they're steered by a very small rudder wherever the pilot wants to go. Likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boasts. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. The tongue also is a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole body, sets the whole course of one's life on fire, and is itself set on fire by hell. All kinds of animals, birds, reptiles, and sea creatures are being tamed and have been tamed by mankind, but no human being can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil, full of deadly poison. With the tongue, we praise our Lord and Father, and with it, we curse human beings who have been made in God's likeness. Out of the same mouth come praise and cursing. My brothers and sisters, this should not be. Can both fresh water and salt water flow from the same spring? My brothers and sisters, can a fig tree bear olives or a grapevine bear figs? Neither can a salt spring produce fresh water. James is bringing out some really, really important points. And the first one is this idea of a leader or a teacher. The word here is rabbi, the same word that they use to describe Jesus. We shouldn't be leaders because there's a lot of influence and authority that's given to people. And really, James is describing anyone who's put in a position to give us spiritual advice. Now, this can be pastors, this can be church leaders, this can be conference officials. People who are here, who when they talk, we listen. We should put them to this test. What test is that, you say? Well, what do their words say? What do their words mean? Now, most people have the translation of that word, their word, maybe not quite accurately. Sometimes we put it as what they say, but it's more than that. It literally means word. John talks about this. In the beginning is the Word. God was described as the Word. Jesus is described as the Word. So when James says the word, watch out for your words. It's important that we pay attention here. Perfect example of this is praising and cursing. Now, praise is something that we should give to God. It's describing this beautiful acknowledgement of who He is. Praise is something that we do all the time, and it's something that we should do to God. It's also something we should do to other people. It means to encourage, to acknowledge their characters and who they are. But cursing, on the other hand, now, when we talk about this word tends to get put in when we think of expletives. I want you to take that out of your mind. What James is talking about is not salty language. And in fact, when we talk about cursing nowadays, it's often more to express emotion or as a way that even as perhaps a language tick. He's talking about a literal curse. He's talking about you speaking evil on someone. And we don't do that today. We don't go out into the woods and sacrifice something to to make sure that someone has a curse. But he's saying that those two things can't be together. There's only really one thing we can say about this section. Watch your words. We're not talking about salty language. We're not talking about the type of oaths or cursing or expletives. Although keep in mind that your language should match up with your beliefs. But that's what James is trying to tell us, that our language, our words, need to match up with who we are. A spiritually mature person understands that your words have weight. That when you talk to people, what you say about them or to them matters. That the words that people say to us, spiritual leaders, or even just people who have an influence on us, their words should be consistent with what they believe. Too often, we find ourselves talking as Christians certain days of the week. And then during midweek, we maybe use words that are hurtful, that are evil, that are used to destroy instead of build up. James is saying this small portion, if you as a spiritually mature person can learn to understand and control your words, then you're on that path. You're passing yet another test of righteousness. Why is that important? Because it's another example of putting our faith into life. Simple, yeah. It's not a miraculous act. It's not going out and maybe changing the world, but it changes who we are and who we present to the world. When we represent as a spiritual, mature person, when we are able to control our words, we're able to control who we are and where we're going. If you like this, please continue to watch. We're really excited as we continue to explore the next section of James. Take care. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We have more content that we'd love for you to watch. Also, it really helps us if you can like and leave some comments for us. It just helps us expand knowing what we want to put out next, and also lets us know where you're at and how we can connect with you. Thanks so much. We'll see you in the next episode.